Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My name is Oladimeji T.A., js3 mathematics teacher of CTY Model College, Ibadan. How are you, my students? I am of the hope that you are enjoying the holiday. May Almighty Allah continue to protect us and see us through this COVID-19 session. I pray that we shall all return back to school safely. Don't forget to continue observing all the safety measures so that you can stay clear of COVID-19. I am here before you this moment to take you a topic in mathematics. And the topic of discussion is statistics. As you all know, js3 third term is a revision class. So the list of topics to be revised for this term are given below. As you can see, the first topic is statistics. What is statistics? Statistics is a branch of mathematics that deals with collection, presentation, interpretation, and analysis of data. Types of presentation. Good presentation can make statistical data easy to read, understand, and interpret. Therefore, it is important to present data clearly. There are two main ways of presenting data. Number one, presentation of numbers or values in lists and tables. Number two, presentation using graphs, that is, the use of pictures. The two ways of presenting data are best explained using an example, like the one given below. An English teacher gave an essay to 15 students. She graded the essays from A, which means very good, through B, C, D, E to F, which means very poor. The grades of the students were B, C, A, B, A, D, F, E, C, C, A, B, B, E, B. To present this data, the following steps should be taken. Let's present the data in a tabular form. The first thing we need to do is to rank the data. Rank order means arrangement of the data from the highest to the lowest, or from the lowest to the highest. The 15 grades are given in ranking order as shown below, starting from A to F. Notice that all the grades are put in the list, even though most of them appear more than once. The ordered list makes it easier to find the following. 1. The highest and lowest grades can be quickly noticed. 2. The number of students who got each grade can be seen. And 3. The most common grade, the number of students above or below the average grade, and so on can be quickly seen from the arrangement. After ranking has been done, the next thing to do is to get the frequency. That is to prepare the frequency table. Frequency means the number of times each grade occurs. For example, in the example given below, in the example given above, 3 students got grade A, 5 students got grade B, 3 students got grade C. One student got grade D, 2 students got grade E, and 1 student got grade F. So the number that corresponds to each grade represents its frequency. Another thing I want you to notice in preparing a frequency table is that the frequency table can be prepared horizontally as shown in the example given, or vertically. In vertical presentation, the grade will be on the first column while the frequency will be on the second column, and arrangement will be done vertically downwards. Another way of presenting our data is by graphical presentation. In most cases, a picture will show the meaning of statistical data more clearly than a list or table or numbers. The following methods of presentation give the data in pictures or graph. Some of the ways of representing data graphically are pictogram, bar charts, and pie charts. Let's take them one by one. Pictogram. A pictogram uses pictures or drawings to give a quick and easy meaning to statistical data. As shown in the table, the circular pictures represent Smarties, and one circular color picture represents 2 Smarties according to the key given on the table. So for green color, there are 3.5 circles there, meaning that there are 7 Smarties. For orange, there are 4 circles to represent 8 Smarties. For blue, we have 2.5 circles to represent 5 Smarties. For pink, 3 circles to represent 6 Smarties. For yellow, we have 5.5 circles to represent 11 Smarties. For red, we have 4 circles to represent 8 Smarties. And for purple, we have 3.5 to represent 7 Smarties. And lastly, for brown, we have 1.5 to represent 3 Smarties. Another way of graphical representation is through the use of bar charts. A bar chart represents the data as horizontal or vertical bars. The length of each bar is proportional to the amount that it represents. There are three main types of bar charts: horizontal bar charts, vertical bar charts, and double bar charts. When constructing a bar chart, it is important to choose a suitable scale to represent the frequency. The following table shows the number of visitors to a park for the month of January to March. According to the table, in the month of January, 150 visitors visited the car park. In the month of February, 300 visitors were at the park. And in the month of March, 250 visitors were at the park. The question says we should construct a vertical and horizontal bar chart for the table. To do this, the first step is to choose a scale, because in our notes, it is not possible for us to draw a line which is going to be 150 centimeter or 300 centimeter long. So we need to choose a scale so that the length of the bar chart drawn will be proportional to the number of visitors. So the scale chosen is 1:50. This means that 1 centimeter in our note represents 50 visitors. Then, to draw a vertical bar chart, the number of visitors will be represented by y-axis, while the month will be represented by the horizontal axis. So for 150 visitors in January, the length of the bar will be 3 centimeters. While for the month of February, when I have 300 visitors, the length of the bar will be 6 centimeters. And in March, when we have 250 visitors, the length of the bar will be 5 centimeters. In accordance to the scale given, 1 centimeter to represent 50 visitors. If it were horizontal bar chart we want to draw, like the one shown below, the vertical axis will represent the month, while the horizontal axis will represent the number of visitors. And the same scale will be used. 1 centimeter on the note to represent 50 visitors. So the length for the people that visited in January, 150 people, visitors, will be 3 centimeters, but it's going to be drawn horizontally as shown in the figure. While for the month of February, 600 visitors will be represented by 6 centimeters. While 250 visitors in the month of March will be represented by 5 centimeters. Another way of representing our data graphically is through the use of pie charts. Pie charts are useful to compare different parts of a whole amount. They are often used to represent financial information, e.g., a company's expenditure can be shown to be the sum of its parts, including different expense categories such as salaries, borrowing interest, taxation, and general running costs. That is, rent, electricity, eating, etc. A pie chart is a circular chart in which the circle is divided into sectors. Each sector visually represents an item in a data to match the amount of the item as a percentage or fraction of the total data set. For example, a family's weekly expenditure on its house mortgage, food, and fuel is as follows. The amount spent on mortgage is 300 naira. Amount spent on food is 225 naira. Amount spent on fuel is 75 naira. We are required to draw a pie chart to display this information. Solution. The first step in drawing a pie chart for this information is to add all the expenditure together to give us the total expenditure. 300 naira plus 225 naira plus 75 naira is equal to 600 naira. We can find what percentage of the total expenditure each item equals. And this is done as follows. For mortgage, the amount meant for mortgage is 300 naira. The expenditure of mortgage is 300 naira. Divided by the total amount, the total expenditure, which is 600 naira, that's 100%. That gives 50%. For food, the expenditure on food is 225 naira. Divided by the total expenditure, which is 600 naira, multiplied by 100 in percentage, gives 37.5%. For fuel, 75 naira, which was spent on fuel, divided by 600 naira, which is total expenditure, multiplied by 100%, gives 12.5%. To draw a pie chart, we divide the circle into 100% parts. Then allocate the number of percentage parts required for each item, as shown in the figure below. Mortgage takes 50%, which is half of the whole circle. And the remaining half is shared between food and fuel. But the food takes the larger percent of the remaining half because it has 37.5, which is more than 12.5 allocated for fuel. Note, it is simple to read a pie chart. Just look at the required sector representing an item or category and read off the value. For example, the weekly expenditure of the family on the food is 37.5% of the total expenditure measured. A pie chart is used to compare the different parts of the makeup a whole amount. A pie chart can also be drawn as a fraction of this sectional angle allocated to each item. For example, 300 naira was spent weekly on mortgage. This can be converted to sectorial angle by dividing 300 by the total expenditure and multiply it by 360 degrees. This is the sum of all the angles in a circle. And this is going to give us 180 degree. And this will take the half of the whole circle. The student can try this on their own and draw the pie chart using sectorial angles instead of percentage as it is drawn in the note. After data presentation, the next stage in statistics is data analysis. Data analysis is a way of using our table or our graph to draw some conclusions about the data drawn. Some of the things that can be done under data analysis is measurement of central tendency. A measure of central tendency is a single value that attempts to describe a set of data by identifying the central position within that set of data. As such, measure of central tendency are sometimes called measure of central location. They are also classed as summary statistics. The mean, which is often called average, is most likely the measure of central tendency that you are most familiar with, but there are others such as the median and the mode. The mean, median, and mode are all valid measures of central tendency, but under different conditions. Some measures of central tendency become more appropriate to use than others. In the following section, we will look at the mean, mode, and median and learn how to calculate them and under what conditions they are most appropriate to be used. Arithmetic mean. The mean or average is the most popular and well-known measure of central tendency. It can be used with both discrete and continuous data, although its use is most often with continuous data. The mean is equal to the sum of all the values in the data set divided by the number of values in the data set. So, if we have n values in a data set and they have values x1, x2, so to xn, the sample mean, usually denoted by x bar, pronouns x bar, is given by the formula x bar is equal to x plus 1, x1 plus x2 plus so up to xn divided by n. This formula is usually written in a slightly different manner using the Greek capital letter sigma, which means sum of. So mean is equal to sum of x over n. You may have noticed that the above formula refers to the sample mean. So why have we called it a sample mean? This is because in statistics, samples and population have very different meanings, and these differences are very important, even if in the case of the mean, they are calculated in the same way. To acknowledge that we are calculating the population mean and not the sample mean, we use the lower case letter mu. The mean is essentially a model of your data set. It is the value that is most common. You will notice, however, that the mean is not often of the usual values that you have observed in your data set. However, one of its important properties is that it minimizes error in the prediction of any one value in your data set. That is, it is the value that produces the lowest amount of error from all other values in the data set. An important property of the mean is that it includes every value in your data set as part of the calculation. In addition, the mean is the only measure of central tendency, where the sum of the deviation of each value from the mean is always 0. When not to use the mean. The mean has one main disadvantage. It is particularly susceptible to the influence of outliers. These are values that are usually compared to the rest of the data set by being especially small or large in numerical value. For example, consider the wages of staff at a factory below. The mean salary for these 10 staff is $37,700. However, inspecting the raw data suggests that this mean value may not be the best way to accurately reflect the typical salary of a worker, as most workers have salaries in the $12,000 to $18,000 range. The mean is being skewed by the too large salary. Therefore, in this situation, we would like to have a better measure of central tendency. As we find out later, taking the median will be a better measure of central tendency in this situation. Another time when we usually prefer the median over the mean or mode is when our data is skewed. That is, the frequency distribution for our data is skewed. If we consider the normal distribution, as this is the most frequently assessed in statistics, when the data is perfectly normal, the mean, median, and mode are identical. Moreover, they all represent the most typical value in the data set. However, as the data becomes skewed, the mean loses its ability to provide the best central location for the data because the skewed data is dragging it away from the typical value. However, the median best retains this position and is not as strongly influenced by the skewed value. This is explained in more detail in the skewed distribution section later in this guide. Median. The median is the middle score for a set of data that has been arranged in order of magnitude. The median is less affected by outliers and skewed data. In order to calculate the median, suppose we have the data below. We first need to rearrange the data into order of magnitude, smallest first. After the arrangement, our median mark is the middle mark. In this case, 56, highlighted in bold. It is the middle mark because there are 5 scores before it and 5 scores after it. This works fine when you have an odd number of scores. But what happens when you have an even number of scores? What if you add only 10 scores? Well, you simply have to take the middle 2 scores and average the result. So, if we look at the example below, we again rearrange the data into order of magnitude, smallest first. Only now we have to take the 5th and the 6th score in our data set and average them to get a median of 55.5. The mode. A statistical term that refers to the most frequently occurring number found in a set of numbers. The mode is formed by collecting and organizing the data in order to count the frequency of each result. The result with the highest occurrences is the mode of the set. Other related terms include the mean or the average of a set and median or the middle value in the set. For example, in the following list of numbers, 16 is the mode since it appears more times than any other number in the set. A set of numbers can have more than one mode. This is known as bimodal. If there are multiple numbers that occur with equal frequency and more times than the other in the set, like in this example, both the number 3 and the number 16 are mode. If no number in a set of numbers occurs more than one, that set has no mode. Range. The range of a set of data is the difference between the highest and the lowest values in the set. For example, Cherry took 7 mathematics tests in one marking period. What is the range of her test scores? Solution. Order the test score from least to the greatest. We get this. Then highest minus lowest will be 94 minus 73 to give us 21. The range of this test score is 21 points. Another example. The Jagger family drove through 6 Midwestern states on their summer vacation. Gasoline prices vary from state to state. What is the range of gasoline prices? Solution. Ordering the data from least to the greatest, we get this. Then highest minus lowest gives this. So the range of gasoline price is $0.48. Summary. The range of a set of data is the difference between the highest and lowest value in the set. To find the range, first order the data from the least to greatest. Then subtract the smallest value from the largest value in the set. Assessment. The assessments will be uploaded in your assignment portal. So the students are able to attempt the subjects, the questions, and upload their answers on or before the stipulated deadline. Thank you so much. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.